Welcome to the show, Eden.
Hello.
So, what is the most important thing? What is your sober date?
Actually, I don't have a sober date because I was in a coma. I was, obviously drank myself to that state and probably woke up about 9 weeks after drinking myself to that state. I believe it was encephalopathy, and obviously all my organs failed.
When
Pretty
that
much all of
happened?
them. Sorry?
When did that happen?
2019, November.
So, almost 5 years ago, you were in a coma
Hmm.
for 9 weeks.
Yeah, in and out for about 38 weeks in all in all.
Oh, so you fell back into it,
Yeah, it was a long time in.
and that was all because of your drinking.
Yep,
So, where are you
completely.
from?
I'm in Glastonbury in Somerset,
Where's that at?
United Kingdom.
Okay, I've had a few people from the UK on here.
Actually, we have one of the better systems.
When it comes to what?
Uh, our healthcare.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Did they take care? Like, did you have any outstanding, like, huge bill from being in a hospital for like?
No, no. Even my medication to this day, what you guys have to pay is unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine isn't. Mine's on the NHS.
That's a blessing right there for you.
It really is. It really is. Every day I count myself lucky for that.
Yeah, you're
Especially since
talking.
joining the liver groups and realizing how bad other people have it.
Yeah, I mean, you
Trying to
had it
find
pretty
that
bad
money.
too.
Not really. I don't think so compared to a lot. I had it. I had it very bad, but I did it myself and I came back.
Yeah. When did you start drinking? How old were you?
I think I was probably consciously drinking probably from about 18, 19. Very much the culture, um, concerts, out with the friends every Friday, Saturday night, just a thing to do. I obviously knew I liked it more than most, but carried on anyway.
Because what was the drinking age out there?
It's 18. But to be honest, this is going back obviously to early 90s, so nobody bothered with ID. So, we could go anywhere from about 14 onwards, really.
Yeah, yeah, because of the drinking age.
Mm,
And how old are
yeah,
you now?
51.
Okay, yeah. So this is the early '90s when you
Mm,
turned 18.
yeah.
That makes sense then. That you
Mm.
would fall into it so easily. You never really drank in high school.
Yeah, I did, but it was what we all did. It was when people got older and started to move away from the culture that I realized how I was a little stuck in it. But I didn't choose to separate myself from it. Instead, I just seeked other people that were doing the same as me. I know this now. I didn't know it at the time. That's what I was doing, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. That's what was. How did you grow up? Were your parents still together? Do you have brothers or sisters?
I have one real brother. My stepdad, who is my dad from about 15, 16, died last year. And my mum is still here.
And when
I've
you
got
say you had a real brother,
Yeah, I've got a real brother. He's not very far away. He's quite close.
and did your parents stay together?
No, my real dad's dead.
Oh, okay. Was it from this disease?
Yes. Although
So
I
he
wasn't he wasn't actively a part of my life. He was basically he abused me as a child and was removed. Um, he did die from this disease incidentally as well.
okay, like physical or mental abuse?
Yeah, all of it.
All of it. Was he also hitting your mom too?
No,
No, just you.
just me.
Is your brother also his?
Yeah.
Yeah. So were they married?
Yes. Yeah, I think they were very young when they got married. My mum was sort of 16, 17. I think he was a bit older. Yeah, he must have been. I think he was about 27, 28. But yeah, like I don't think it was a marriage made in heaven.
Yeah, being that young
Definitely.
and impressionable,
Hmm.
from your mom.
Different time, also different age. Like I say, it was back. That was obviously 70s.
Yeah, because yeah, you're 51 now, so you were born what in 73?
I was, yes.
Okay, just trying to piece it all together.
Yeah, that's fair.
How old were you when he passed away?
My real dad,
Yeah,
um, probably about 27, 28. But he hadn't been a part of my life for a long time. I literally received a text message saying he was dead, and that was it. And someone said that from what I can gather now, although I didn't know at the time, it sounds and looks very much like it was burst varices.
it was what now?
Burst varices.
What is that?
The varices in your esophageal varices, when they rupture. You've literally probably got 20 minutes to get. It's like a varicose vein, internal varicose veins. Obviously from excessive alcohol and things, it strips the lining of your insides, and if they rupture, you've got very limited time to get to hospital because it's a full bleed, and he obviously didn't or couldn't, and was found in a lot of blood, and it, that's what I know it was now. But at the time, like I say, I wasn't really aware of any of the problems that alcohol brought.
Yeah, and when
They
you
just cured
started,
everything.
what's that?
They just cured everything.
Yeah, yeah. People don't realize how dangerous alcohol is,
Not at all. Not at all.
and it's all accepted in society, and there's a whole culture around it. I mean, even like I'm not sure. Is there a culture around mothers drinking wine in England?
Of course, there's a standard joke: drop the school kids off on the school run, straight to the co-op, get your cheeky glass of, your Costa mug, put the wine in it. It's all very much a culture. It's all funny. And yeah, every celebration, every commiseration, every holiday, there's always a reason, whether it's gin, champagne, it's always a reason for alcohol to be there.
Yeah, that's how it is here too. It's on commercials on TV all day. It's
Mm.
on billboards. It's on when you scroll Facebook in the ads.
We're a little better than that now. I think they've banned a lot of the very public advertising. I don't think you see a lot on TV anymore, but it used to be very bad. But no, a lot of it got stopped. But oh, you do around Christmas time and things, I suppose, and supermarket offers, but nothing in the force of it was, every celebration. Like you say, Facebook and that. There's no getting away from it.
There kind of is. What I do is I report them every time I see them,
Fair enough.
and Facebook stopped showing them to me.
Yeah,
I was
good.
getting them because I talk about alcohol so much that how your phone listens to
Yeah,
you,
of
it shows
course.
you ads. So I was getting all these ads for alcohol. So I started like hitting the three dots and saying this ad doesn't pertain to me or whatever it says.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
I started
idea.
doing that on every single one that I see, and now I barely get any of them.
I shall try. It's worth it. I don't like seeing them.
Yeah, neither do I. That's why I
No,
stopped.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a drink in 4.5 years. So you were in a coma during COVID when COVID hit, right?
No, that was the worst part. Um, 2019, I was taken in. I was basically in and out for about 38 weeks. I was transfusion dependent. I kept slipping in and out of comas, etc. And when I was finally released into the wild, COVID hit. So they told me I had to sit in house for a year. But they also told me that I wasn't even going to live for the next 6 weeks. So basically, it was my choice whether I isolated or did my own thing.
How did that feel coming out of 38 weeks in the hospital
Terrifying.
to be told you can't drink and you can't leave the house?
Well, it was absolutely terrifying. I did go home. It was really awful because every time they let me go, I literally would get to the door and fall into a coma of the hospital. It was, and I woke up all the time convinced I was at home, and then it just hit me. Coming out of a coma is not fun, and when you kind of think the last thing I was waving people goodbye, and all of a sudden I'm just led there again, and it's like, as far as I'm concerned, it's a blink of an eye. So nothing has changed and nothing's happened. So it got to the stage where I think I just felt safe there anyway. So coming out of hospital was really hard, full stop. And the COVID thing, to be honest, I was going to say everything was at a standstill, but I don't think I noticed it as much as if I hadn't been in hospital because I was so used to being institutionalized. I only saw the same 5 people, 6 people every day, and I didn't have no comparison almost at the time. I didn't stay in. I walked for miles across the country. I'm out in the country. So, I walked for miles. So I thought I can't sit in. And if they told me I wasn't going to die anyway, I thought I might as well die in a field somewhere. But yeah, to this day I've never had it. Never. So I'm still here.
I've had it like 4 times.
My kids have. My kids have it like, and it's like, but no, never.
I had it twice in a month a few months ago.
Oh, really? That's bad. Are you on rifaximin?
I'm sorry?
Are you on rifaximin? Sorry,
No,
it's Xiafan there, isn't it?
it's Provax. I think it's Provaxilin,
Yeah.
something like that. My wife got put on it, but I didn't.
Yes, I think to be honest, because that's such a strong antibacterial sort of tablet, I think that protects me from a lot these days. I
Yeah,
seem to miss out on a lot of little things that go around. So,
yeah. My wife is an autoimmune deficient. She has MS, so they need, you know what I mean, all the different medicines,
mm,
that come up whenever, because they're threatening. Um, 38 weeks. That's a long time, Eden.
yeah, it certainly was.
Did it scare you straight? Have you thought about drinking ever since?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I came out of rehab to go to hospital because that's what we all do, isn't it? But I think I was so long in there that it never really occurred to me to drink again. And I had done the work in rehab anyway, so I knew what needed to do and how to do it. And I think by that stage, I didn't have a person in the world. So it was not a case of walking away from your old life. It was, I had no life, though I only had one way to go, really. So I had to start right, and I did start right from the beginning. I had absolutely, quite frankly, fuck all, but now I've got more than I've ever had without having anything, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you work any kind of program? Do you go to AA at all?
I don't know how much I can say about this, but I do AA work, but I'm not necessarily a believer myself. I believe in the program because it obviously works, but I find it quite uncomfortable. I'll happily sit and talk and I'll happily be a sponsor. I'll happily go to meetings with you. But as my own personal choice, if I'm struggling, it's not a place I find comfort.
Why do you think that is?
I honestly don't know. Because they seem stuck on a cycle, I think, of talking about the bad. They fail, they've slipped up. So and so's done this. There's not enough positive. If I go in there and shout that I'm 5 years sober, someone's going to tell me, yeah, but you could lose it tomorrow. And it's like that's not what I want to hear. I surround myself with positive people. My friends are positive influences. They bring good things to the table. AA didn't bring a lot for me. I have friends in recovery also, and we can kind of, if I'm being ridiculous, I can phone, one of my friends and say, this is what's happening. And she'll say, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. Don't be an asshole. And we all know it, but sometimes it has to be said out loud. Sorry, I have my hot water bottle. Cirrhosis is cold.
So when did you have kids?
34 and 37.
Okay. So they're teenagers then.
Yeah, they are.
And were you able to stop drinking when you were pregnant?
When I was pregnant, to be honest, yeah, quite easily. I didn't even think about it. But the minute they were born, I resumed.
You picked up where you left off with.
Yeah.
And okay, so not until your mid-30s, it was your drinking progressing as your 20s went on?
No, not really, because I actually because my lifestyle enabled that me to do that, I'd never questioned it.
What do you
It's when
mean?
I was a holiday rep through Europe. I was always, you know, I was always doing something. I was never still. I was living in London where drinks at 5 o'clock were the norm, and then would be in Spain at 2 hours later doing the same thing. It was just that's the sort of thing we did. So it was never stop and think about things. Yeah, we used to party for days, obviously cocaine. But when I stopped and slowed down and I got married, I think it sounds awful, but everything I'd kind of avoided for the whole of my life was sort of put right in front of me with these children. I felt so protective and so much love towards them that I could never understand how somebody could hurt a child. And so emotionally, I think it kick-started the whole binge drinking.
And you had said cocaine?
Oh yeah, I used to do coke. I used to coke, speed, whatever was going.
Yeah, coke and alcohol seem to mix pretty well.
Oh, they did. But they don't.
Yeah, I've heard that many times, and I know
Yeah,
my experience with coke would go hand in hand with drinking a lot.
definitely.
I don't know why that is, but yeah, they go hand in hand for sure. They're definitely buddies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
But I gave drugs up easily as they fell away by the one side one by one, but booze was always there because it was so acceptable probably. Everyone would go to the pub or we'd go round somebody's house. I couldn't sit there and chop out a line, but I could sit there and have a few glasses with them. So just kind of that was the path I chose, I guess.
how old were you when you tried cocaine?
Probably later, to be honest, probably about 22, 23. Okay. It wasn't so, it wasn't available when I was young, unless you're in the States, obviously.
Yeah,
We had
yeah,
to wait a
it's definitely
bit.
available young here.
Yeah, we had to wait a little bit for that bad boy to come over.
Yeah, I started drinking at 11,
Yeah,
and I started drinking more when I was 12 and 13 and 14. And by the time I was a junior or senior in high school, I was drinking almost every day.
yes,
And by the time I was 22, I was introduced to pills and other drugs, and it was off to the races for me.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
because you
my
can drink
20s are
more also.
what's that now?
You can drink more also when you're taking drugs.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't notice it. I could drink 3 bottles of wine if I had a line of cocaine, and you wouldn't know.
Yep.
It's no wonder my liver was pickled.
I didn't try cocaine until I was 19. I think I was 19 when I first tried coke at a party. And I was drinking. It was a keg party, so I was drinking all night and then doing coke all night, and
Yeah,
um yeah, they're definitely go hand in hand when you're partying.
certainly does.
And you said you were a holiday rep. What does that mean?
I sold holidays in Europe.
Oh, vacations.
Yeah, vacations, yeah.
That's why I forgot you guys call them holidays.
Yeah, I forget little things like that, but yeah, that's right.
Okay. Do you still do that now?
No, that was definitely a young person thing.
How come?
I Nobody wants to buy a holiday off from a beach from an old person. It was all they want to see the 30-year-olds out there selling them.
All right. So your 20s are kind of a mixture of drugs and alcohol.
Hmm.
Until you get married in your later 20s. How'd you meet him?
In the pub.
Was he older?
No, he's actually 10 years younger. He's
And you guys stay married
Yeah, we stayed married for about 10 years.
after you had both of your kids?
Mm.
And it have anything to do with your drinking?
What, why we split up?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
What was your drinking like at that point?
Okay. Well, I thought I was okay. Well, obviously I wasn't. I used to hide wine and everything around the place and drink like a fish. But unbeknown to me at the time, but really obviously now, I was suffering from an encephalopathy.
What's that mean?
No, okay, hepatic encephalopathy. Um, it's basically the final stages of liver disease. It's you hear voices, you go to different realities, you go into a coma. The coma is the final stage basically before hospice. Um, your ammonia levels gone sky high. Basically, all the toxins are attacking everything in your body, and you're an absolute lunatic. Um, and in one of these states, I attacked my mother-in-law with a big knife because of something she said to me, which obviously she didn't say. But to this day, in my mind, I can still hear, see, and feel everything that happened in that room according to my encephalopathic state. I have since apologized, obviously, and but yeah, it's a very, very scary thing. So yeah, that was the end of my marriage, funnily enough.
Was that event?
When
I'm saying that event was the end of
that
your
was the
marriage.
event, yeah.
That makes sense. You can't blame the guy for that.
God, no, no, I'd judge him more if he stayed with me. No, not at
And
all.
so that was caused by liver disease, but if that was when you were like 38 and you didn't stop drinking until you were like
Oh no,
46.
it was. I'm gonna say I stopped drinking 2019, 2000, yeah, 19. Oz was about 5 or 6. My youngest, he was 5 or 6. So 38, 39, 40. I would have been 42-ish.
Oh, okay.
42-ish when probably even later, I'm gonna say, but yeah, I was gonna say early 40s definitely.
And even though you had liver disease, you still drank with it?
I didn't know I had liver disease.
Okay.
I didn't know at the time. Now looking back on it, I had ascites, I had varices, and I had encephalopathy, and I was walking around every day with that. Walking around, it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. The fact that some of the things I did, you know, and it was all down to encephalopathy, and not one person picked up on it.
Not even yourself.
That you can't. If you do actually have a look at it and study encephalopathy, you can't pick it up yourself. You're the final person to know. But I got followed home one night by a monkey. I obviously that didn't happen, but this was long before I was diagnosed. I was breaking away already, so I was less and less lucid as the years were going by. Some of the things people tell me that I did, I'd say I would never believe them, but now I accept that yes, I did do all of those things, and they
It
also
really makes me
accept.
wonder. Um, it really makes me wonder. I was engaged to an alcoholic, and she was bipolar schizophrenic, and it makes me. She committed suicide 9 years ago, and it really makes me wonder if she had that because
Mm,
she would hear voices and see people and see
yes,
things. I mean, and they
yeah,
just chalked it up to being schizophrenic. And I
that's it.
wonder if it was her drinking that was progressing that because she committed suicide. There wasn't like an autopsy, so it's not like they checked her, did like a thorough, check.
If they checked her bilirubin and her ammonia levels, I bet they would have been sky high.
Yeah, I don't know if they did or not. Since since
Yeah, that's
healthcare is such a thing here, once you,
of
decide,
course.
yeah,
But yeah, there's very real chance. It's a terrifying, terrifying thing. It really is. I bought a bike one day and I bought this bike and rode 2 miles home, and I crashed obviously because I can't ride a bike and I've never been able to ride a bike. But I went and bought one and went for a bike ride. Really? You know, this dangerous. It's funny, but it's dangerous. I was out there doing this.
I never learned how to ride a bike either, so no.
Because we drank.
I'm 38 years old and never rode on a bike.
I'm never
So
getting on one again. Yeah, I ended up in hospital then because, obviously I was drunk in charge of a bike, probably, but it took a long time for the encephalopathy and things to be picked up. But as soon as obviously the mother-in-law incident, I think I fell pretty much straight into a coma. And so by the time I came round, um, all I remember was shouting in the hospital, "Have I hurt somebody? Have I hurt somebody?" And everyone saying no. And I was there for so long that I had no idea really what had happened. I remember going to court, wondering why I was there, but it's all a bit of a. It took 5 years to apologise to the mother-in-law, and we're okay now. We're back to a place where we can work.
yeah,
Bless her.
because
It's she stuck by the children. She watched out for them when I was in hospital. She did it with a smile on her face and didn't say a bad word about me. So, hats off to that woman.
yeah. Well, she probably knew once you were in that coma that you were sick.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that if you didn't go into a coma and you just stayed drinking,
Oh,
then
there,
she
yeah. I was so close to death though. They didn't even think I was going to leave the hospital that weekend. They'd called the family and everything. I was absolutely rancid.
yeah, I can't imagine. My drinking subsided when I started doing pills. I drank more.
Mm,
I drank a lot after she passed away. I drank for almost a year straight every day. Um, but I was living about 7, 8 hours away from where I was using. I moved after she
mm,
passed away, and I moved to a different state to kind of start over again. And when I moved, I started drinking every day as a way to cope. And I probably shouldn't have.
yeah,
I should have stayed. I should have been sober, and instead I was at the bar 6, 7 nights a week. And when I wasn't at the bar, I was at home drinking. So, alcohol is such, like they say in AA, alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful.
yeah. It certainly is.
I mean, there's people that are dying left and right from alcohol related diseases. You said you had cirrhosis of the liver.
I do.
Oh, you still do?
I do. Well, I when I was obviously in hospital, and I had to have all the tests and things. I was obviously lined up for a liver transplant, but my heart wasn't strong enough to sustain the operation, as it was discovered that I was born with a heart disease that no one had found out or looked for back in the day. So I couldn't have a liver transplant. But in the meantime of spending that year in hospital because they were basically waiting for me to die, my liver kind of went on a little bit of a rampage and revamped. And I'm now in reversal, and my liver is pretty much unscarred.
Well, that's good.
However, yeah, I can say the liver's good. However, that's in reversal. I still have varices. I still have HE if I'm not careful, etc. The liver is healed, but the damage is done. So, I'm lucky that my liver's here. I'm pretty much okay most of the time, but yeah, sometimes it's a killer still.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see you're doing so well, Eden.
Yeah, I'm glad to still be here.
What do you mean? You said you went on walks? Like you walked across? Where did you walk to?
Miles, absolute miles, just to be anywhere outside. I took up climbing, abseiling, zip wiring. I just went anywhere I could go just to be outside. We've got amazing places. I still go to them now. Just real, actually, probably my places where people might go to AA. I will now wander out into the wilderness somewhere and sort my head out that way. That looks like a
Whatever
can of
helps keeps
beer.
you sober.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever helps.
Yeah, yeah, whatever helps us all, isn't it?
Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking about everything that's been going on.
Finally.
It's not easy to relive some of that stuff.
No, to be honest, it's quite it's almost like it's a different life, a different person now. You know, I spent it just is. It's like it all happened to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, a lot can change in 5 years.
Really can. Like I say, my mother-in-law looked after my children and that, but as soon as I was out of hospital, I mean, they're older now, and they're very protective of me, bless them. But yeah, they keep me going. But yeah,
Good.
they're back with me, obviously. They came back as soon as I was able to look after myself and them.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see all the progress you're making.
Yeah, I just want to see more people do it.
The more stories we put out there, the more light we shine on the
Definitely.
subject and help others.
It's just that thing, isn't it? Asking them to let go of the only life we know. Tell them there's a better one. You
Yep.
know, none of us believed it. Why would anybody else?
Yep.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
That's the truth.
But we do it every day.
Yep. Yep. Every time I put a message out there, I hope at least one person can see
You
it
know
and
what?
get some strength from it.
Definitely. Definitely.
Everyone's got a different story.
I could say I'm quite public on I did actually document my recovery through Facebook and things. And I do get a lot of people drop in now and then. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
struggling with alcohol, etc. And I never turn
Yeah.
them away.
I had a 20-year-old girl reach out to me a few years ago on Instagram, saying that she's been binge watching my show and she's trying to get sober, and she's gaining a lot of confidence that she can do it by watching my show.
Oh,
And
good.
getting that message kept me going, doing the show for another year.
Yeah, I bet.
You know,
Definitely.
she was from the
Stories like
UK.
that.
She was from the UK also.
Oh, lovely.
She had watched an episode where I interviewed a girl from the UK, from London, and she reached out to me like 2 weeks after, saying that she's been watching all my episodes ever since that episode, and
Oh,
she's slowing down on her drinking.
well, let's hope she's
And
doing good.
yeah, I'm still friends with her on Instagram.
Excellent.
I'll still check in and see how she's doing.
Yeah, that's a good
So
thing to do.
yep. So
That's a good thing
there's
to do.
people that do hear these and see these that
Yeah,
from it.
definitely.
Well, have a great weekend, Edom.
And you. Oh, it's Sunday here. Because it's Monday
Yeah.
morning. I don't know how to hang up, so I'm going to leave that all to you.
All right. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.